Oh, okay. Time is 7 p.m. The date is April 7, 2022. The City of Jervis Council meeting is now called to order. We'll now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Junior, would you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Denise, can we do roll call, please?
Yes, Counselor Foreman. Here. Thank you. Counselor Gonzalez.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Gilland.
Present.
Mickey Wagner.
Excused absence.
Pardon me, Counselor Barge. Present. Counselor Harvey.
Here.
Thank you, Denise. So we'll move on to the announcements additions. We have one that sounds pretty special tonight. Wastewater Operator of the Year Award presentation for Kyle Jens, presented by Heath Coakley. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely. Well, I'm very happy to be here tonight. Thank you for having me. I'm Pete Coakley with the Oregon Association of Water Utilities. This is actually the Wastewater Operator of the Year for 2020. Normally, we would have presented this at our Sun River Conference in 2021. Unfortunately, that was canceled due to unforeseen events. And we didn't want to do this virtually, so we've been kind of trying to keep this under wraps for a while, and it seemed to work pretty well. But we were finally able to get this all organized. Unfortunately, we missed you at our Sun River Conference for the banquet, but we're very happy tonight. Kyle was selected for our Wastewater Operator of the Year for 2020 because of, and I have to say, I've been here since about 6:40. Your presence in the community and the respect that your community has for you is just very evident. And I know for me personally, seeing how you dedicate yourself to your work day in and day out and support your community, you just can't ask for a better operator than that. Kyle.
Yeah, Vicky's usually quick with that.
Great.
Are you gonna say anything?
Reserve.
I was just very, very shocked here. So
Nice work.
really, I'm not sure what to say. Thank you.
Congratulations, Kyle.
Nice job. We appreciate you, Kyle. We see you out there. I see you when I'm on my way to work, and sometimes on my way home. So, and thanks for always coming on those emergency situations. You really go above and beyond. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else want to say something? But thank you. Next we'll move on to public comment. Public comment. Oh, I do have a timer. Thank you, Pam. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person with an option of 2 minutes for council questions and answers. If you wish to address council, please come forward to the podium and identify yourself for the record. You will need to state your name and address, please. And I will ask anybody that wants to come forward to come on out. Ready?
Laura Clifton, 1065 6th Street, Jervis, Oregon.
Okay, so
I still have questions about the water bill that raised, have some concerns. I got the information from Susie on the table of what she based it on, which is the same table that I was looking for or looking at. And the difference was an average of the year is 4.3%, and the table runs from January 1 point something percent all the way up to December of 6.5. So I think there was a mistake made when someone looked at it and pulled the last number of being 6.5 as a percentage.
Do you mean like? I'm sorry to interrupt. So you're saying doing it on a previous month instead of a previous year?
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out what you said.
January was 1.5% and it goes all the way up to 6.5% in December. And when you average, the yearly average of those numbers is 4.3% and not 6.5%.
Sorry.
Go ahead,
What is this number we're looking at? I'm just trying to remember what we were talking about last time.
It's based off of the CPI, the cost of inflation,
Okay.
Where do we get those rates from?
consumer price index, CPI. Off the CPI for urban. Susie has a whole Pacific, urban,
Specific class.
yeah,
Okay. That is,
yeah. I think someone else that they need to take a look at it. The same, and it's per the previous average, yearly average. Instead of the previous month. So that's all.
so clear, you said the last month, it went 1.5 to what? What was the last month?
January is 1.5%, and then December was 6.5%.
Isn't that what we're charging in 6.5 right now? Do you remember? offhand?
Yeah, it's for the wastewater utility.
Okay, we'll look into it. Cindy, can you look into that, please? Thank you. Thank you, Laura, for coming. Does anyone else have anything? John?
I have a question for Laura. Can I ask you, did you do any more investigation at all? I mean, did you just look at that 1 year, or did you maybe say back?
I did look at last year where it was increased 1.6%, and the increase was 1.6%, and inflation was averaged at 1.6% for the year of 2021
So you're saying it was.
or
correct?
2020.
That
Yes,
was correct.
that was
All right.
correct.
That was good.
Yeah.
So the previous year was what we added at the,
Yes,
and you did the math the same with the month, the chart? Did you have a chart for that or?
you can pull up the data and it will average it for you.
Okay,
It's just pulling up Excel charts. And it was 1.6% for 2020.
okay.
And that's what they charged, increased it by. So yes, it was correct.
Okay. Anybody else? John, did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. So is anybody else with public comment?
My name is Rocky Sherwood, 2622 Nina Place, Hubbard, Oregon. Just wanted to take a minute and introduce Cole Mossler. He helped organize the first annual holiday parade here in Jervis. He was one of my #1 assistants, and he has been bugging me about doing more in the communities. And so he's going to be one of my big time assistants with the city of Jervis. And his first step of business is he wants to help out with the Jervis community cleanup. So, and then all the events that comes to town, he wants to come with me and help out. So just want to introduce him to you guys tonight.
I'll bring him forward.
All right, cool.
Hi, Cole, I remember you.
I remember you too.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. It takes time.
Yeah. I appreciate that you're gonna help us. So you're gonna help us clean up on the 30th of
Yes,
April?
ma'am.
Oh, welcome to Jervis and thank you so much. This
You're
means a
welcome.
lot to us
You're welcome.
and we look forward to working with you.
Me too.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
you.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Thanks, Rocky.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Cole.
You're welcome.
You have 100 more of you. That would be great. So is there anybody else for public comment this evening? Okay, with that being said, we'll go ahead. Is there anybody online that wants to? Just want to make sure I don't skip anybody. No? Okay, public comment is over. We'll move on to our consent calendar. Consent calendar A is approval of the minutes of the March 3rd, 2022 regular session. E is approval of the bill list for February 25th through March 31st, 2022. The requested action is a motion to approve the April 7th, 2022 consent calendar as presented.
I motion to approve the April 7th, 2022 consent calendar as presented.
I will second that motion.
Okay, is there any discussion? Not hearing any, I will ask you, are you ready for the question? I take that as a yes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, the ayes have it and the motion carries. Next, we'll move on to the committee reports, the ad hoc skate park and 4th of July. Is Clifton?
Yes,
Could you please give us your report?
I can. I'm not prepared tonight, but I'm a little disorganized. We had our meeting and we've come to the conclusion that the only place to have the skate park on that side of town would be on Birch, where we do the recycling city cleanup. It's the only street that doesn't have utilities running underneath it, close to it. I've checked with John. A couple weeks ago, we sat and talked and went through the map of the places that we were looking at where the city streets are not being used to go through. And that's the only one over there that's open. Land over there is way out of the price range for us.
That's
So
what 450,000 watt, if there is anything.
yeah, and those are kind of, there's a couple lots on the other side of town, but it's kind of like out of the way.
Could you back up to what we found out at Sacred Heart? I briefed Cindy, but I didn't know.
Okay. Sacred Heart is open to having something on that property but not a park with physical structure there. Too much cement for a skate park, and really didn't sound like they wanted like a swing set or a slide or anything. Maybe frisbee golf
Or a dog park.
or a dog park.
With dog park, and I think it'd be nice for there to small comment to the fact that that would leave our city putting up a fence and having to provide bags and cleanup if the owners didn't. And I myself am not recommending that we would do that to our staff, number one, or without getting volunteer help first before we decided something like that. I just think that would be not a good idea. Also, they weren't willing to go with any long-term lease on it. So if we did do that to replace what we need to build for Ivy Woods, my thoughts are in 5 years or less, we would be stuck owning them a park. So I don't think that I'm saying we shouldn't do it, but that's of course up to you guys. Go ahead, Laura, sorry.
That's okay. I'm sorry, I don't have my notes. So is there any questions?
Could you move on to our 3-on-3 basketball?
We put a flyer out on the city website. We've got registration going. Had 3 emails so far asking questions. I've given information back to them. I just got the 4th of July packet yesterday, so I'm still going to be working through that to organize it. And hopefully by Tuesday, I'll have a firm handle of that.
Did you file for permit for the parade yet? Or is that something you do later? I'm not sure the timeline we're looking at.
Yeah, well, we could, if that's something that the council wants to go for, we can apply for the county parade, yes. They haven't, the city has in the past, but I've talked to the county, as long as we get it in within 30 days, we're good. We do have the permit going forward for the fireworks.
Okay, so we could file for a permit. Can I get a consensus from council if we would like a parade?
The cost on that I did see in the packet was $150, just so you know.
Well, that was dated when though.
Yeah, and I had to call in for them to call me back.
We didn't do it last year, so with inflation, we better look at that.
I have a call into the lady, so if I hear, I'll know cost.
Could we work together?
Sure, absolutely.
To get that going? And,
I didn't see anything in the packet, running through it quickly, anything about a vendor form for 4th of July. We're talking about food trucks and stuff. I don't have any information on what was being charged, so I'm gonna leave it.
you said $25.
I
Is
have
that
not-
sustainable, Susie, with the inflation of today's rates? Should we go $30 or is 25 still fine?
Yeah, that's up to the committee. I mean, they've charged $25 for as long as the festival's been down here. They did start charging an extra $5 for if they needed electricity.
Okay, is that enough to cover the cost for 10?
You know, I
I'd
don't
say bump it
know.
up to 50.
Well, we might have to.
No, maybe not. I don't have a form. I have nothing.
So you need a form for this? Is there a form available, Susie, or,
We do have a vendor.
and they just come to the city for that? Is that where it would be directed? Or?
Yeah, we can do that, or somebody from the committee can have some.
Okay. All right, so,
You know, usually we have to make a transfer from the general fund to supplement the 4th of July budget. So it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to increase the
okay.
to offset that transfer.
Sounds good. Do that and maybe electricity, I think. I know my bill went up, so I'm thinking that maybe we should do that too.
Maybe 40 and 50,
Perhaps,
35 and 50 or something.
does that need to be decided right now or,
No, it's something to think about.
okay? And the 3-on-3 basketball tournament,
We were having that at Sacred Heart. They've got indoor courts and they have a smaller hoop court in the back where they're smaller for the smaller kids. So, and then they have room that we can add another couple courts in the back. They've got parking, they've got a kitchen. So we got water to wash our hands. They have the bathrooms. So might be a little crowded inside, but we'll make it work.
we have, it's $505 for the rental. Well, it's $400 for the weekend rate because I'm a parishioner. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And I'm the event coordinator and I am waiving my fee for this. There is $105, which is a liability insurance for the weekend. So we're covered with insurance. So that's $505. And then there's a $500 fully refundable deposit that we'll need to budget for. A budget, Susie, what do we need to do for that? Because we need
So-
trophies and,
Yeah, if I could get the approximate dollar amount for everything you need for the basketball tournament, then we can budget for it in the next.
I know you mentioned it, you needed that figure, so if Laura figures it out,
Tuesday, I'm hoping we can discuss it in a meeting.
okay, can I get a consensus that Laura can bring that dollar amount to Susie and just let her put it on at that time? All in favor? Okay, Susie, that will happen that way. Am I leaving anything out? Anybody else think of anything? Any questions, concerns? Chief, it's on the 30th and 31st. Can we don't have to have policing over there, but could we have people on duty that day?
Yeah,
Those
they're
2
already
days?
scheduled that day.
And you know what? They are more than welcome to come hang out with the kids. That would be a really nice thing for them. I like that.
Yep, absolutely.
And hey,
And come have lunch.
yes, they come hang out in the kitchen with me. Give them a hot dog.
Give them an apron.
Go ahead, Heather.
Will you be coming out, obviously it doesn't need to be done now, but like later, like early summer with information for people that want to just come watch that are not going to be playing basketball, or is there going to be additional information on what times games are playing, what the schedule might look like, what kind of food's going to be available?
I'm hoping that we can get that on the more information on the website once we get those
Because
details.
obviously you need people just signed up to play basketball right now, but you know, those of us that don't play basketball would like to know what our other options are to help support.
That'd be nice if you could
Yes.
come eat lunch there.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it might be good too, that maybe we could make up a couple of, flyers, I don't know. Post one here, maybe down at the store. And just post some around so people in the time go see it.
And can we make copies here for that?
It's already been a step ahead of you.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's already online and I'm gonna make a little addition to it, revise it, and then I'm gonna post.
And the tournament schedules, yes, Laura pointed out that I work for a contractor. Yes, Laura, I do have a plotter available for your information. Your question is, yes, I do, and yes, I can make it. Thank you. My boss said I could.
Yeah, I've had a question.
Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted, is the school aware so that anybody on the basketball team or anything that they just want to come and just play to be playing, not as an organized team in the school, but I mean, have we included the school and the elementary school so they know that they could come and play?
I'm going to. I want to update the flyer before I distribute it.
And some of the referees are high school coaches have agreed to help. So they're informed, they're in the loop. And Schultz and perhaps the girls' coach, he said.
The questions that emails that I've gotten, I'm going to update it so those can stop.
Anything else, you guys?
We'll have,
Gonna pull your mic down.
we're gonna be available. I'm gonna be available that day. So,
Are you gonna come help?
yes, be giving a hand.
Father would really appreciate that over there, helping to keep it clean and picked up. And we're gonna have a eating area out on the blacktop and then seating in the back for the little kids. Teachers. So that would be really helpful. Rocky, you and your friends could volunteer that.
That's another thing I was gonna talk to you about. Did you talk to council about the band? Because Copper Ridge is wanting to know
Oh, I
about the
haven't
4th
yet.
of July.
4th of July, there's a band for $700 called Copper Ridge that Rocky is recommending. So is that something that you would like to look at? I've heard them, they're pretty good. They play at the casino. They're actually not bad.
They play for the Canby Music Fest too, and 700 is only because they know me kind of price. And she works with me in the community, so they normally play for over 1,000 to up to 4,000. They said they're playing $600-700 for you guys, so.
We'll have to put that past our committee too on Tuesday. Okay. Maybe we can let it know. But thank you, Rocky.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Laura. Tuesday is the meeting at 6:30. You can via Zoom. It'll be on the link at the city, or you can come in person if you like that. Moving on to action items. A, amendment of the IGA with Marion County for Community Prosperity Initiative. Did you all read up on it? Any questions? Susie, do you have anything you would like to add on it?
I don't. Unless anybody has questions, I'm happy to answer them.
You're not hearing me. I would ask for, oh, go ahead, Pam.
Right, so I thought it's a lot of legalese, so pardon me, I didn't understand 100% of what I had to say. But on page 22, when it says the agreement will be effective for the period of execution through June 30th, 2022. Seems like a short period of time.
Oh, you caught
Yeah,
that. That's good.
So I can explain that. The original amendment, which is what you're looking at,
Okay.
was only good for 3 years, and it ended June 30th, 2022. So
Okay, the new one.
amendment, which starts on page 20, starts from 2022 and goes through 2024.
Oh, I get it now. Okay,
Extends it 2 years.
yeah, thank you.
So is that everything, Pam?
Yes.
Any more discussion? Could I get a motion on that?
I move to accept amendment number 1 to the IGA between Marion County and City of Jervis for Community Prosperity Initiative.
Any more discussion? Okay, are you ready for the question? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries. The next is approval of the minutes on the February 3rd, 2022 regular session. Oh, I'm on the consent calendar. Never mind. It's been a long day. Ordinance 22-01, an ordinance amending Title 6, Chapter 6.04 of the Jervis Municipal Code regarding animals at large. Did you all get a chance to read it over? Any questions?
There are no additional changes to this beyond what we did, correct?
Correct.
You good, Tim? Mayor?
Yeah.
John?
I just have one question. So now this tells us what the first violation is going to cost these people. It'd be a class 4 civil infraction. Will there be, I'm sorry, I'm referring to chief. Will there be a warning before that infraction is placed on somebody? Violation?
Yeah, generally how we enforce ordinances is we talk to people first. We go in person, we talk to them. We research the property, research the person, kind of look at what the history is. And if there's been no violations before, generally we send them a notice, talk to them, and send them official notice in the mail. So it outlines the ordinance and what the complaint was and what the violation was, and that any future contact could result in the fine.
Answer my question.
So you satisfied, John?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, can I get a motion on that? Yeah, ordinarily we don't, but Jack, I'll let you ask. Chief, could you answer that? Just real quickly.
Define animal at large for him.
Well, I'd refer them to look at the ordinance and read the ordinance.
Okay, well, I guess I can look at that and read it for you, Jack. Hold on. Yeah, that's all right, we're here.
I can answer that a little bit. Animals need to be secured. They can't just run around. So if an animal's out running across town and doing it, that isn't legal, because number one, we don't even know whose dog it is, and maybe it bites somebody, whatever. So in that case, I think that pretty much takes it all. And if it's not in its yard or tied up, or you can't just let them run anyway. That's pretty much what it says, I think. Then in that case, you need to register a complaint, and then it'll go on from there. That should be taken care of.
So I make a motion to approve ordinance 22-001, an ordinance amending Title 6, Chapter 6.04 of the Jervis Municipal Code regarding animals at large.
Are you ready for the question, or is there discussion? Not hearing me, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, and the motion carries. C, ordinance 22-002, an ordinance amending Title 8, Section 8.04.140 of the Jervis Municipal Code regarding discarded motor vehicles. Is there any questions on this? None, you have the floor.
I'm okay with most of what is on here, except there's a sentence in item B that I'm not, I don't think I like it too much. But it does it, I'll read it to you, then you can think about it. It says, and this is the last sentence, or yeah, part of that sentence.
Can you give me a page number, John?
34. It says, and they're speaking about the police officers. They shall have the right to enter any premise where they may have reason to believe such nuisance exists. Now we're talking about cars, motorhomes, whatever it may be. I don't believe that line needs to be in there, because if you can't see it, then I don't believe there's a nuisance. I would like to see that line taken out. I don't believe that's needed. Because if something that big, you're going to see it. I mean, it's not like it's something you're going to be hiding. Anyway, I don't believe we need that line in there. I think if somebody makes a complaint, then that gives you the right to go look at it. I think that's the way we should proceed.
Well, yeah, because if you can't see it, then how did you know it was there? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if there's a complaint, that's different. If somebody makes a complaint that they've seen something going on that's against this ordinance, that's a different story. But to have that in here, that I can, if I'm a police officer, I can say, yeah, I believe there's something back there. Not sure, but I believe there is. So I'm coming in. I don't want that kind of stuff going.
I have to
I
agree.
want some evidence before we go into people's stuff.
So, John, the full sentence says, the chief of police and the city ordinance officer or the designation shall promptly examine each and every case reported to them. This is really addressing that it has been reported, not that they can arbitrarily
Well-
decide to go in. I like the language personally, so I would like to not see it removed.
Well, I gotta say, just to be devil's advocate there, if the neighbor is squabbling with another neighbor, they feel like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna get you type attitude, and they call and they complain to, that you can't see something, I have to go back to, if it wasn't visible, how's that nosy neighbor know? I'm sorry for saying it like that, but you know, you could start like the neighbor war with that kind of way I see it.
I'm just addressing that it says
Yeah.
each and case
Right.
reported to them.
I know, but recording it, if you can't, I go back to.
And so if it's not visible and it's not reported, like any other ordinance that we have, there would be no reason to necessarily go in there and do that. But if it's been reported, I don't feel putting a barrier for an officer of City of Jervis to go in and look at that. So I respectfully disagree that I would like to have that language removed.
Yeah, John?
Okay, so, say you're driving down the road and a police officer pulls you over. And he, for some reason, he thinks something's going on, but he's got no evidence. You think he's got the right to just go ahead and start searching your car?
There's a law about that and I'm not prepared to
I
address
tell me, I
that.
know about that. I believe that we need to look at this closer, so I don't believe that's a good idea to have that line in there. The rest of it's fine. It does it like it's supposed to, till it gets to that sentence. That sentence changes the whole thing. So if you're happy with that first line, then you should be happy without the last line, because the first line says it all. If they go do their job, then they have the right to go in there. That's all it is.
I just respectfully disagree with you.
That's fine. You have that right, just as I have my right to read
Okay,
these things. and
all right,
understand.
so we have two different opinions. I'm still of the opinion that I really don't want to get into someone's personal space. And if we can avoid that by changing the language a bit, I think maybe we should look at that or visit that at least. Because both of you do have valid points. Okay, but I, for myself, do not want to invade somebody else's space that way. If that is and I do kind of see it that way myself, but Junior, how do you see it?
I think John's right. He should delete that. They
Okay.
shouldn't.
Diana?
I feel that it's acceptable because if they believe, I mean, just like any other issue, if they believe that there's a problem, they have a right to enter a property. And this is, I believe it's in a similar situation. You know, if they believe that there's been a criminal act on a property, they have the right to enter that property.
Or something they can't see is a criminal act. I just trying to.
Well, if they have if there's been a reported, I mean, I guess the chief can correct me, but if somebody's reported that, I think that my neighbor's house is empty and it's been broken into, they get to go investigate. And entering the premise doesn't necessarily mean entering the like the building. It means stepping foot on the property, correct? I mean, I guess it doesn't mean like opening gates necessarily. It means I can go, take a look closer. Stepping off the sidewalk. That's how I see it.
Okay, thank you, Diana. John?
Okay, so now I'm gonna say it does mean that. That means that reasonable suspicion, they can step right on into your property and start looking around. And that's not something that we need here in Jervis. So
A lot of controversy around this issue.
I'll make a motion that we take that line out of there and go with the rest of it.
Okay, can we get a second? Okay, any more discussion? Okay, I'm gonna take a roll vote because I might be, I don't know, voting myself first time ever. If that's permissible. John?
I'm sorry, can I just ask one question before?
Sure,
you
go ahead.
Is it possible to table it until Mickey is here with us so that we have the?
Well, we have a quorum, Pam. Would you have a problem?
Point of order, point of order.
John, what's your point of
A
order?
motion has been made and seconded. There's no more discussion. We have to vote.
Okay. That being said, John? Yeah,
Just, yeah, like I said, I like that line removed.
okay, so your motion says what? That you want it removed?
I will accept this, I will accept this paperwork with the addendum that line is removed off of item B.
Yeah, please read it by title for the record.
And so Denise can get it. It can be considered.
So that would be 8 dot. Okay, so the ordinance 22 an ordinance amending title 8, section 8.04.140 of the Jervis Municipal Code regarding discarded motor vehicles with the line, any premises where they may have reason to believe such a nuisance exists needs to be removed.
Yeah, any clarification? Well, you can ask.
Are we voting? Is that what's
Yeah, we're
happening?
going
Okay,
to, we're
okay.
gonna do a roll call vote. Since Mickey isn't here, and I don't know for sure they vote. Hey, John, I'm gonna ask, yea or nay?
Yes, on this the way I say.
Okay, Diana? Junior?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we do have a tie, and I believe in a tie, the mayor does get to break it. And I am going to say yay. We're going to take it out. And that's what carries. Thank you. Old business, see activity tracker. Does anybody have any question on the city tracker?
I have a question
Go ahead,
about number
Pam, you have
5.
the floor.
So I had a question about number 5. I just wondered, I know that we talked about in March 3rd, it's not that long ago, whether or not we've had a chance to hear anything from the chief about other options.
Yeah, I touched base with him yesterday and he gave me an update that they're currently having an analysis done for a coverage area if they locate a station on the north side of Jervis. And he does plan to bring an update back to the council.
Okay, thank you. That was all I had.
All right, anybody else? Not hearing any, we'll move on. Let's see, discussion on where to direct circus ticket sales proceeds. Council President Mickey Wagner is not here, but she and I were in agreement on her ask, and I'm gonna read that to you. Just to give her input tonight. She asked, that was the only thing that she wanted input on. She said, I just wanted to let you know that the initial idea that I brought up for the circus money was to split it in half to skate park project and half to the PD that would go towards CERT for the emergency preparedness items and or things like the bike rodeo helmets and such community oriented items like for DARE. Stuff like that. She didn't say dare. I just did. That's my half. I'd like your kids to get a little bit of that half. And I too think that's a good compromise because a lot of people are volunteering for this. The skate park committee has been very strong and active in our community, and they are going to work the circus. So I think it's fair if they do. I think that I'm going to work it, and I'm all for the police and there. So my interests are there, and I'm trying to explain why I would like to have it done like that, but that's just our thing. What would you guys like? Anybody?
Mayor,
Yes.
can I get some clarification of what you said? You said half skate park, half CERT program, and then you wanted to see some of it to the DARE?
Well,
Okay, I just wanted to.
Nikki's ask was half to the skate park project and half to the PD police department that would go towards CERT for the emergency preparedness items and or like things like the bike rodeo helmets and such community oriented items. And then I added in, part of that should go to Dare. Annie's ask is Dare. Okay, anybody?
Fair. I think that DARE falls under that PD, community
Just wanna
oriented
make sure
PD stuff.
specifically that
Yeah.
there's things that something like that program. And we are taking volunteers, and if you'd like to help with that, yes, that would be great.
With the circuits? Oh, I'm older.
We would really appreciate it. That would be a really good thing, actually.
Will you be calling for a motion on where to direct that?
Yeah, I think I will. Okay, so we can settle that. Can I get a motion stating where we would like the proceeds to go?
I make a motion that the proceeds from the circus will be split in half between the skate park and the police department community money, including DARE and CERT.
Okay, can I get a second? Okay, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. The ayes have it, the motion carries. Okay, the next thing is the Arbor Day proclamation. I gotta find it one second. Thank you. Okay, I'll be making an official proclamation. Ready? Tree City, USA. Whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heat and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance and economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Annie Gillen, Mayor of the City of Jervis, do hereby proclaim. Okay, is it today?
You can name any day, but if you would want to name the cleanup day, that's fine.
Okay, April 30th, 2022 as Arbor Day in the City of Jervis, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this future generations. Dated this 7th day of March 2022. Okay.
Perfection is so different.
April 7th, 2022.
Nice, very nice.
Thank you. I'm back in March. Now, the budget committee member applications that we got, do we have some of those folks here that would like to address us? And talk about why you would like to? I decided we're just going to hear from you tonight, and then I'd like council to think about it and, maybe go over it. And in the May meeting, we'll go ahead and say, Susie, is it just one position?
Yes, we have one position and 3 applicants.
Okay. But go ahead. Yeah.
When is the closing March 25th was the closing date for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I just clarified.
Right. I'm glad to see that we got so many, but I would like to, I'll say prayerfully consider. So and think about it first. That way we're not rushing, because I just kind of heard about this. Would you like to come forward, Hugo? Sure. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thank you so much. So just to introduce myself, my name is Hugo Fernandez. I've been a resident here at Jervis since 2011. Really enjoyed the town, really like being a member here in the community. And, you know, we've got some roots in here now. We got, 4 of our kids, they all attend the school district here, and we've been pretty involved with them. And actually, my son was the one that kind of inspired me to get a bit more involved, because Hugo, I don't know if he's also involved with the skate park. So yeah, I mean, it's just something I'd like to be more involved. I saw online, and I heard from Abby as well that there was this position being open. So although I don't have a background in budget, I think I do have a lot to offer. My biggest background is in the social work. I've worked for seniors and disabilities, migrant education, Northwest Human Services, so I don't know, I feel like I've got a lot to offer, even though I don't have experience in it. Yeah, I mean, I don't see ourselves moving anywhere and staying in town, so I'd like to build up and.
You committed like a 3-year.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming in this evening, and
Thank you.
be able to consider that. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for me?
I just wanted to let you know that experience is not necessary.
Cool.
And anybody else have? Anything, okay.
Nice to meet you. Nice to
Yeah,
meet you.
nice to meet you. Thank you. Is there anybody else here tonight that's applied for it? Laura Clifton. Hello.
Hello. I did apply for the position. I've been in town since 2005. I've been trying to be more involved in the city of Jervis, and I've been looking over the water master plans with everything that needs to be done for city's infrastructure. Curious about how that money is all going to be distributed out to get it worked on, but I'm a regulatory compliance officer, my company. I'm also an internal auditor. I have a lot of hats. I have time. I've been coming to the meetings and listening to what's been going on. If anybody have any questions, because I hate standing in front of a microphone.
First, I'd like to tell you how much I appreciate all that you have done. To go above and beyond. Thank you for the skate park and involvement. Thank you for that. So anybody else have anything? Nope, you can go now. Thank you. Okay. And then there was a third applicant. Is she here this evening? And I just like council to take, time and consider it and reread the applications and stuff, and we can just decide in May and your world. I did think there was going to be two places open. Actually, and that still might happen. Just a little FYI. Did Elena Contreras call you at all? Wasn't sure that she would be able to, but I'll ask her for sure to get with you if she can.
Oh, okay.
So I'll reach out to her if that's all right with you.
Sure, that would be great.
We're just in passing it now, so I'll make sure that way we can keep going and get it done. That being said, now it's time to move on to the staff report. City Manager Martha.
Thank you, Mayor. I did provide a written report in the packet with some information. And as usual, things come up after I provide it, so I'll provide a little update. I did mention in my report that the city was awarded $1 million for Marion County's Round 1 ARPA application, which will take care of most of the short-term based on the capital improvement plan in the wastewater fund that Laura was referring to. So that will be a huge help to us. I wanted to let the council know that the school district received a grant from the Safe Routes to School program, which resulted in a report. And so the final report has been done, and it's going to be made available for public comment online, which we'll provide on our website so people can look at it and provide public comment. The issue with your emails is resolved. That's good. Brian's really good about working with us on that. We did have the joint meeting with the school board March 7th. Diana and Pam are going to report on that with the summary and takeaways during the business from mayor and council tonight. With budget coming up, the Department of Revenue does have 3 different videos that they've saved, and I provided the links in the packet. If you want me to email those to you, just let me know to make it easier for you to get to them. Our budget committee meeting is May 19th at 6:30. Also wanted to let you know that probably most of you don't know the League of Oregon City offers what they call small cities regional meetings. There's several regions set up in Oregon, and cities within those regions take turn hosting. They meet on a quarterly basis. We were asked to host May 12th, so I volunteered to be a host May 12th. So elected officials are welcome to come to those meetings. In fact, that's most of what the attendance is. So if you're able to make it, that meeting, great. They happen right in the middle of the day, 11 to 1 is when it'll be. Here at City Hall, May 12th.
What day is a week is that?
It's a Wednesday.
Maybe I'm not too much. I think we might have a good that day.
I just also wanted to give you a heads up. We have a potential public, a land use let me start over. There's potential for us to have a public hearing for a land use application on the property between Ivy Woods and Field Ranch. So
Who's that?
it's right, it's adjacent to Ivy Woods, so behind Ruiz's. So that might be coming to you June 2nd. Working with Holly on that. We were waiting for them to submit extra materials on their application because it was deemed incomplete. So anyway, so she's working on that. Let's see. I wanted to remind council, I sent an email out about the LOC Spring Conference, which is happening April 21st and 22nd. Registration deadline is tomorrow, so if any of you are interested, I know it's hard when you work, but I can help get you registered if you want. So just let me know. And also the statement of economic interest is due by April 15th. That's through Government Ethics Commission. So if you need any assistance or have questions, Denise is our shepherd of that. So contact her if you need assistance with that. And lastly, I emailed the council earlier this week, letting you know that I was going to ask to schedule an executive session for my quarterly review. So
We're gonna postpone that for a while. We're gonna push that back. I'll let you know when.
okay, well, that concludes my report. Is there anything extra you guys would like me to bring back next month?
I don't find out. I can think of. Ready?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Chief.
I just, written reports provided to you, the one thing we talked about there, so I'll just highlight that we started the DARE program again at Sacred Heart. Week 2 was today. about drugs and alcohol and the DARE decision making model for good choices. And so we kicked that off actually last week, but lesson 2 was today.
Right, so I seen the pictures online of the parents. Being on us. And so it was nice, thank you.
You're welcome.
I
Absolutely.
like the pictures from the other schools too, but you don't always see them from over here,
Right,
so it was
right.
very nice, thank you. Good job well done. Is there anything else, Chief?
No, everything else is in the report.
Okay, John?
Mine's pretty much in the report too. I mean, Union Pacific finally got the railroad crossing done on Ivy.
Okay.
So yes, that was a long waited. And then Tree Farm still progressing. Most of the zones have been logged off except for the southern end of the tree farm, which is like zone 9 and 10. Once that get drives out, they'll be back in there to get the rest of it down. They've started to prep the ground. And once that's all done, then they'll bring the trees in and lay the irrigation system and start planting. So
Can you remind me, was there a company we hired when this first happened to guide us through that? Or did we
that was
hire an outside-
AKS Engineering
AKS,
and Forestry.
did they do pretty good? I mean, they kind of mapped it out, or?
They did okay. You know, there was some snafus and some communication problems, but fortunately, Matt from ALM came on board and he's the general contractor that's doing all the forestation and restoration of the tree farm.
So did they just do the, how we get the job out there then, or did they help us with how to get funds or?
No,
anything
they
like
were
that?
pretty much just the contact person to line up individuals or companies
To do it.
to do it or.
Get the sense for, so they were like a general then for them?
No, they weren't general. They were just more of an advisory, like you hire an engineer and he gives you his opinion. And then, you know, that's about as far as they went.
Not that I want a major catastrophe, but you guys did a good job on them. So,
You know, it's been a long go. And then, you know, Kyle's award for his wastewater person of the year. So, yeah,
that was amazing. Really nice.
so that's all I have.
Okay. Any questions of staff?
What are you gonna do with all those trees?
The trees are the property of the contractor, and then they will be hauled off and ground into chips, and I think the mill is Malala. But that's part of his compensation, but with fuel prices, it's like rolling the dice. If there's no chip market, he still has to pay the cost of transport and get them off the property, so it's not like they're the cities. So it's never been a moneymaker. Even when they harvested 12 years ago, it was a negative. The city had, I forget what the funds were, but the city had to pay the extra cost to replant the tree farm and have everything hauled away. So, but the trees are his. And so once the ground dries out, they can get the log trucks in there and they'll haul off everything. Everything that was debrisable was ground up in a 2-step process. They have one grinder that was a surface grinder that took the stumps down, then a subterranean one that went down about 12 inches. And it looks like they're planting crops. So they kind of raise the ground and it's shallow in between each row where that subterranean one went. And that's where the trees will go.
That's a lot of information to have to keep on. Yeah, I just wondered how that company did for us.
Yeah.
They were, somebody we use again.
We used, AKS is the one that engineered Ivy Woods.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see their signs in Woodburn, so they're a
Pretty
relative,
reputable.
a large firm, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Business from the mayor and the council. I don't really have anything tonight. I want to talk about, council, Diana, I guess you guys have a presentation.
Yeah, so Pam's gonna handle that, but first I wanted to let everybody remind people that there's farmers market Saturday at the high school, Jervis High School. They're gonna have cotton candy and churros. They're gonna have nachos and maybe chili dogs. There's gonna be homemade bread. The fence post from St. Paul is gonna come out and have some like household stuff, like candles, I guess is what I heard. And they are expecting flowers to be in May. So I just wanted to let people know that that's happening.
Diana and I attend and Susie attended the school board meeting on March 7th. I just took some generalized notes. They're not intended to be fully comprehensive of everything that was discussed over the several hours. We were sure to say there was no Jervis City Forum present, so we're present. It was just us that were present. So that was that was identified. So the purpose of the meeting was described as the value of partnership, and the goals described were possibilities, efforts, resources, and so forth. And so I just have asterisks on a couple of things that I just thought were really great. One of sort of mantras was how to start a vision. Doesn't matter where you start, just start. So you can take baby steps. We can do small things. We can have all these grandiose plans that we like, but it's okay to start with baby steps. Some of the things that we discussed that came up was job training, hands-on programs with the city and the schools, which was really great. It's a good idea. That includes, concrete pouring, fence building, as far as, opportunities for learning for the students in the community. There was a discussion about a library. Obviously, we don't have a library in here. We have a beautiful library in Woodburn, but we don't have one here. But Woodburn is going to start a homebound delivery service for libraries with a bus. So they were hoping to get it started in the summer, but they thought maybe it wouldn't happen into the fall. But that would be really exciting. We don't have any clue how it would work here, but that it is a possibility to have the library bus come here and include Jervis in their cycle of communities that they go to. They talked about, festivals to bring people in. All of these, of course, can be put on the kiosk that we've talked and identified. Festivals or basketball, pickleball, which apparently is a thing and it's a pretty popular thing. Reminds me of dodgeball, so I'm not interested. But yeah, so it's, those are just some ideas. Food carts, food contests, farmers market, which I'm really excited to see that. Movies in the park, which they were talking about, it's just a really great way to get people and communities together. So there's a couple ideas about that. A car show, we've talked about that in the past, bringing that forward. A street chalk art competition, which apparently Susie says we've done chalk art in the past, which could be just a lot of fun. And that's one of those baby steps we can take, that we don't have to charge anybody for a square, just come out and do the chalk. And I thought it'd be fun to have the fire department come and turn on the hose and wash it all away for the kids and stuff. And it's just a chance for them all to come. In the future, if it got a little bit more structured, we could have children's different ages of competing and adults and so forth. But I've been to a couple, they were all in California, but they were amazing. The grant writer was really extremely competent in the work that she's done historically and the ideas that she had. And so I just want to mention 5 that I captured, or 4 actually, for grant ideas that she discussed. Was the National Guard's Civilian Project, a rural business development, community development, and T-Mobile Smart Grow in America were 4 that she talked about, but she also said there were many, many other options available out there for grants. So those, that's kind of my high level summary of the things that we discussed. Really the focus on what can the community do? How can we come together? They also said one of the best ways to get started is just ask your community what they want. Ask them, ask them, ask them, and then go from there with ideas.
Okay, thank you, Pam. Any questions?
That's good presentation.
Yeah,
thank you.
you're nice.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions. Okay. That being said, Diana, did you want to elaborate any more? Or, I mean, I listened to the playback, so I could.
I think, she covered the big, the big chunk of it. My biggest takeaway was just, we need to come together as a community, as the community needs to come together with the city and the school board working together to make that happen, basically. So, and that's a combination of grants and community events.
Yeah, I was on board with the grant writer idea. Yeah, we've always partnered well with the school, things like that. Nikki has got a bike rodeo going. So yeah, this might bring it out farther, but I'd like to elaborate that we've always had a really good relationship. Yeah. So, anyway, I think that's it, unless somebody else has something. Anybody? Junior and I will be talking about, or Junior will be talking in May about the Veterans Wall. And stuff, so hopefully that will become a reality for Jervis. So, yeah, and also for the, I guess I would like to ask you guys about going and looking at Birch Street for the skate park. We got kids on board that are really looking hard. I did talk to Councilman Harvey, and he was thinking maybe some other, looking at some properties or see what other options might. Is there any other place that you?
Well, it's looking like we're gonna not have a property to put it on. So there's been, and somebody else, I think, suggested it would put it in over Black Walnut over in that area, which whatever we do with that skate park, wherever we put it, we still need to do something for Ivy Woods because we took their money. And so we got to do something. I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to have to do it. And I just hope in the future that we all think real tough about giving away property that we need to do, put parks in and stuff. You know, because
What was the lot on, how big was the lot even for
it
those?
was 2 lots, I believe it was
Two
2
lots?
lots, yeah. 2 lots, I think, and it was, we got, I think, 70,000 for the 2 lots.
What year was that?
Oh, that's been a little while ago.
Now with inflation,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
450,000 for any piece of property.
Well, but anyway, we still have a problem. We're gonna have to cure the problem because we've got to have a park over there. Right, for that new subdivision.
Well, I did look up what constitutes community park, and skate parks are going to be happening things. So we could do a skate park, and that's a nice sizable lot over there. And the next thing that they talked about is you don't really need an architect when you have a designer that will come in with the design bill. And they have the blueprints for it, then you have Ms. Marsden take that and present that for a grant perhaps, because that's your idea that the architect, but the thing about the designer that I believe Laura talked to is not too far from here, they will let the community get involved and save money that way. I mean, that's something that I'd like you guys to consider. Tuesday, there is a meeting and I'm hoping Laura will elaborate on that. Because I think they sell it as a package deal. They have not a prefab, but they have plans for it. And John, do you follow me? There's a plan for it.
They have a plan, but you have to remember, and I told Laura this.
Okay.
Any city property that is going to be rezoned or redesignated, for example, Birch Street, that street's gonna have to be vacated. Means every property owner around there is gonna have to say yes, or you can't do it. So you
So
have
we
to.
can't just use our streets
No,
for what we want,
you can't do
because
it.
they opened that street up next to me that I've been caring for like 25 years. I mowed it, took care of it.
Well,
And I mean. then
that
it
was your
just-
choice.
Yeah, but.
You
I'm
know,
just
and there are
saying
some
that they
citizens-
never asked me to
No, but there are
sign
some,
on.
there are some areas where citizens do that. But any city property, especially the streets, have to be vacated, whether there's an alley there, because part of that's an alley, part of it's street. So it's got to be vacated. So if one property owner says, I don't want the skate park here, then you got to go someplace else and find another
We
piece
are
of
going to
land.
get a pickle if they do that, too, there's a park over there, and they nowhere really, unless they let us take a park, and if they're not willing for a skate park, I doubt they'd let us.
You know,
So-
I have contacted Union Pacific.
What they say.
Well, we're talking 2 or 3 months out before I get any kind of maps or any kind of output now.
Well, Union Pacific is this side, they don't own it.
Well, I know, but they were talking about utilizing the property between,
Juniper. I think we were gonna let that go, maybe.
you know, but I mean, that's the thing, any piece of property that where you think, yeah, this is a great place to put it, the property owners around it have to agree.
So when you say around it, I wanna get more specific, it's just the ones that above up to it,
All of them.
just the ones that above up to it, though,
Well,
because there's
you
none on
figure,
this side.
you figure there's 1, 2, at least 3 property owners on Birch, that section of Birch, that would have to, okay.
When there's, go ahead, Laura. Go ahead, John.
Okay, so my question is, so, I'm just not sure, so when, say we vacate it now, and you have a house that wants to vacate that alley, one house here. So that house needs to get the signatures from who?
All the other homes that adjoin that alley.
That adjoin the alley.
Mhm.
So, but just adjoin it. So anybody on 1, 2, maybe 3 sides.
Right. And if
Right.
one says no, then it doesn't get vacated.
I understand that, but I wanted to,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about how many, but it's just the people that would
That
touch
adjoin,
that alley.
adjoin that alley or that street or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that makes sense, and that'll be something we need to think about, Laura.
So is there like formal paperwork and, I mean, do I hit the roads and go out and ask the people? Do
Well,
I get
this-
signatures on something? I mean,
This is kind of different because the normal procedure is the person that wants to vacate the property fills out the paperwork and pays the initial fee to do it. But since this is partly the city,
It'd be a city initiated application, and a decision by the council, and I would probably want to get Holly Byram involved.
Okay.
Because we vacated city streets, like half of Elm to put the water tank on, and we vacated Hemlock. It's been a while. But It
It's
would
possible.
it'd be a city initiated.
Well, so I guess the decision would be, do we want to start that process? That's something that we. Go ahead.
Well, I don't think we're ready to start the process yet.
I know, but I'm just saying, is that something, what is our next step? They've come as far as they can, as far as finding property, it sounds like. So what's our next step as a council to help them? Diana?
Also, I guess my question would be to Susie is, for the city to start it, are there fees that the city needs to pay ourselves or pay somebody else to get this
It would be,
started?
it would be the cost of the planner, because that's essentially what any other applicant is.
Okay,
Okay,
so then the question becomes, so because there's costs then involved, it's the starting cost of doing the skate park. We then need to, can we start with that? Do we have the money in place to do that, or do we need to wait until we raise some funds to start that
that
process?
or put it in the budget.
Right. Well, and that's what I'm saying is, so we can't, I don't feel that we should start the process until the funds are in place to do
Okay,
so.
well, let's talk about that. How are we gonna get the funding in place? Go ahead.
I'm just gonna throw this idea out there, but, and I didn't talk to John, it just popped into my head, but what about the, vacant piece, next to Public Works? There's a,
Down there,
there's a cement foundation there. I mean, you know,
isn't
if
that where the fire station's going?
they're looking at other options. I
They
mean,
can't
unless the
put it
city
in
would
there.
be, unless the city would be interested in selling it to him, but anyway, that might be an option, that's what I'm. And then in the event, in the future, in Public Works, if when we ever, expand, I mean, we'd have to cover up the cement hole, but
Would we ever need it, that would we need to vacate it or would we just build on it?
the city owns that. And it's, owned public already.
So if we did the kids a skate park there, what are we gonna do about Ivy Woods and the park need there? Are we gonna still go after that property? I mean,
Well, if the council wants to put a park and if this, the church is agreeable to having, some sort of a neighborhood park on that property, then we can work out some sort of an agreement with them as far as maintenance goes and, operational and stuff.
Thought she just said that they want,
they're not open to like
Let's
swing
talk in
sets
the
or
dog park.
dog park.
Nothing like swing sets and the stuff that you were
I
gonna
think
want.
they were okay with fencing and lights, though. I don't know.
you'd have to discuss it with them.
Yeah,
They
they
were-
were, need to reach back out.
If you want to put me in touch with somebody at the church, I'd be happy to talk with them.
Sure.
Yeah, and
But
I can't, myself can't understand why they wouldn't want us to put wings there.
well, he said he didn't know about that because they need part of it to drive their diesels back to get back to our pits for the barbecue. Which I'm a parishioner, so I get their point. We need to do that.
There's a lot of space there.
I know, but they also, with the way things are, they were talking about maybe needing it for expansion, which was my thing, though. I thought I had heard that. And how did they say that, Laura, that
We might need it in the future.
Yeah, so they're not wanting any real long-term things. So if we did that for the Ivywood thing, what would happen if that park went away in 5 years? Then what would we be obligated to give them another spot or? That's what I don't know. Would it be all in vain to put it there to only have it taken away and then, oh, Ivy Woods again? That makes sense. I mean, there's a puzzle there. They're not gonna go long-term lease, I don't think, on it. So even if we invest just a little bit for like a swing set, if they let us, what's gonna happen in 5 years when they don't wanna park there? And they said the baseball field is absolutely out of the question. So that's not something to look at, but that was my ask is. They can get back.
Is that risk?
Yeah. Well, what would be our contingency plan for Ivy Woods then? And what would we actually owe them? Would it be, okay, we filled it, but now the park's gone, or we still owe them? Big question though.
I mean,
I don't know what they could do. Maybe a short-term fix though. Something to consider. The skate park for the kids is huge. I'm not. I just think wherever kids have been working really hard.
Yeah, you said they didn't want anything permanent. Well, you can put in swing sets and a slide or whatever. It doesn't have to be permanent. I mean, you can
Yeah,
put them in that way and be able to.
they
take them
were
out.
really apprehensive.
All I'm gonna say is it's gonna take someone to go and talk to them
I can do that, and Suzie can do that with me.
because they
If
were
we
very,
decided to move forward, but they're not really. They were doing like kind of concession.
3-5 years. And
Yeah.
they might need it. It sounded kind of more like someone to like maintain it. And they wouldn't have to.
Picnic tables, that was okay. Picnic tables and fencing and stuff.
But yeah, you can fence it and.
But you can't let them, I mean, their school's getting bigger all the time, they're growing.
Well, a selling point might be that when they have their chicken dinners and whatever, there's a place for the kids to go.
We have that back in the back,
Oh, okay. I mean, that's-
the big backyard for us.
I was trying.
But no, that would be a nice picnic spot, you know, for retreats or something. I would hate to spend money doing it, only to have it, and then we owe somebody later. I mean, if you need a more permanent fix would be my suggestion, but if there isn't one, what else is there to do? Because eventually we're gonna have to appease Ivy Woods.
I have a question for Susan.
Oh.
That rule that we use to, that I should say, the Ivy Woods people use to sell that property or to buy that property back from us, is that in our, where's that code at? Where did we draw that from? Or is that a state law or what is
No,
it?
it's in our code. It's in the development code. I don't know the section number off the top of my head, but I think it's in the subdivision.
I think that's something we need to look at. We might want to change that so that can't happen to us again, because this is a headache.
Along those lines, I'm glad John reminded or spurred me to remind you. In the ordinance discussion, you guys had revisions to the yard parking. The city attorney reminded me that because that is part of the city's development code, to get that updated, it goes under a certain process. There's public notice that's involved and all that. So Holly's been keeping track of things she's found, in her work. And once we get a good, amount where it makes sense to go to the effort to make the updates, then she'll bring those forward for adoption, consideration and adoption by the council. And that might be something, if you guys wanted to add to it, you can add to it.
But it wouldn't do us any good to go do the next people. Good. I can save them the headache. Hey, JR, I just thought something. You got the property out in back of your place. We can throw that park in there. Come
Come
on
on now. Donate it. He's like, get out of here, I got taxes on that. They're gonna go up too, at least 3% a year, I told him.
So just going back, can we maybe have Laura talk to, like, unless John knows that those people over by Birch are gonna say no, maybe start reaching out, at least talking to them and going from there?
Okay, John, you had something like that.
I think what really needs to be done is, number one, I mean, I'm not saying a full-blown set of plans, but what's your size, what's your imprint, and what is it gonna cost, instead of just saying, I want to put a skate park on this
No, we've
street
already
or
looked
this
at some of
lot. We need something that, you know, everyone knows, okay, it's gonna be $250,000.
I can do that. I can move
You know,
forward and contact a
me-
couple companies and bring them in. That's kind of where I want to, what am I doing next?
Yeah,
Kind of.
you know,
That's what we're
I think
trying to
that's what
figure out.
really needs to be done, because if it's too big of a footprint, it won't fit here, or we have to downsize it or whatever. But at least everybody knows, you know, I need 6,000 square feet of dirt to put this skate
If
park.
I'm gonna go talk to someone and say, hey, this is gonna be your neighbor, would you be okay with that?
Well, then that, I really wouldn't. I'd go through the process, I think. You know, because there's been some other developers in town that one time they said yes, and when it came time to sign the paperwork, they said no. So,
Oh,
I'll reach out.
right.
you know, but it would be great to have something on paper so people can see it. This is what our plan is, and this is how much dirt I need to accomplish that.
We can do that.
Okay, hold that one.
Is that a consensus?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good idea. So that's the next step. Thanks for all your hard work that you do. I know you put a lot of time into it. So anyway, I think that's everything. Open east.
What's the consensus for
Oh.
Laura to contact? Whom? What?
The builder,
The
contractor.
skate park contractor, she can get a hold of contractors to see what plans they have.
Thank you.
Did you get it?
Got it.
All right.
You're gonna get the price.
Thank you. Yeah, and their kids, I think. Dalton was done that way, right? Or was that? which
That's
one was
also,
that?
man,
There was another one that was done that way.
the city had one that was a kid, and,
No, not a kid like that. I'm talking about they have a plan
oh, okay.
and
It's
a.
already like a pre-planned idea that they.
Yeah, it's like these prefab houses that go in. They have prefab parts that you can rearrange it. Yeah. Or,
What they told me is I tell them what we want and they can fit it in the space. They'll give me a price for it.
and the kids have already decided on one piece and bowls and
Right.
you know what they want, right?
I do.
So yeah, maybe even getting a couple of prices on, this is our big dream, square footage wise and price wise, and then here's the shrink down version of what can we really afford, you know? But, you know, just so that we have an idea, and if we don't get, you know, if we don't get as much land as we want, having an idea of how can we shrink this down and still keep the kids happy.
Skate parks can be this way, or they can be this way, you know, they can be oblong, they can be round, they can be oval.
Right.
They come in different shapes.
Yeah.
With different features.
Right.
Okay. Are you done?
We get.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The time is 8:22. Meeting's adjourned.
We use it for BMX. BMX skate.